Good morning, all of you. Welcome to Laksha Academy. This is the part 7 of chemical coordination and integration. In this part, we are going to learn pituitary gland. Okay, in the previous part, we learned what are the different types of hormones and introduction part of the chemical coordination and integration, the differences between nervous system and endocrine system, and what are the different hormones of hypothalamus. Okay, in this lesson we are going to learn some part of the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is also called as hypophysis. Okay, master gland. Okay, pituitary gland is called master gland. That is the master of master gland. That is the hypothalamus is the master of master gland. This is the master gland. Pituitary gland is also called hypophysis. It is a small unpaired round body. It is small unpaired round body. I will show you that one here. You can see here. Okay, this is the small pieces, like that means botanic engine. This is the smallest endocrine gland, which is also called a master gland, which is it is called hypophysis. Earlier you learned hypothalamus. This is hypophysis. It is a small unpaired, only one in number. That's why we are using the term unpaired round body. Where is it located? That is the first point. How is it and what is it otherwise called? And it is located immediately beneath the hypothalamus. You can see here, this is the hypothalamus. It is located immediately beneath the hypothalamus. Where is it located? Immediately beneath the hypothalamus, and it is attached to it. Pituitary gland is attached to hypothalamus by infundibulum. What it is the stalk of the pituitary gland. This is called infundibulum. Okay, can you tell me? Can you remember yourself? What do we call the stalk of the leaf? What do we call the stalk of the leaf? The stalk of the leaf is called petiole. What do we call the stalk of the ovule? The stalk of the ovule is called funicle. What do we call the stalk of the flower? The stalk of the flower is called pedicel. What do we call the stalk of the inflorescence? The stalk of the inflorescence is called peduncle. What do we call the stalk of the pituitary gland? It is called infundibulum. Through the infundibulum, it is connected to hypothalamus. Okay, right. It is attached to it. It is attached to hypothalamus by a stalk. That is called infundibulum. The pituitary gland lies in a bony depression called sella turcica of the sphenoid bone. I will show you bones here. Okay, there are 8 bones which make up our cranium: frontal, parietal, temporal, occipital, sphenoid, ethmoid, frontal, parietal, temporal, occipital bone is there, occipital, sphenoid, ethmoid. Like that we have 8 bones which make up our cranium. One of the bone is called, that is called sphenoid bone. Sphenoid bone is also called as keystone bone. In this sphenoid bone you can observe here one depression, gunta is present, one depression. Okay, that depression is called as sella turcica. So what is that? Sella turcica. You can observe here. Pituitary gland lies in a bony depression called sella turcica of the sphenoid bone. Has a depression called sella turcica. In this sella turcica, this pituitary gland is located there. Okay, right. It is the anatomical. What are the two anatomical divisions of the pituitary gland? Pituitary gland has two anatomical divisions. One is called anterior pituitary. The other one is called posterior pituitary. What are they? APPP. Anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary. What are they? Anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary. Okay, next one, posterior pituitary is also called as okay, neurohypophysis. Anterior pituitary is also called adenohypophysis. Between these two, there is a small zone called pars intermedia. Between the two lobe, there is a pars intermedia. Okay, you can see here. This is the intermediate lobe, pars intermedia. Okay, that's about the first paragraph. Pituitary gland is also called hypophysis. It is, how is it? It is a small, unpaired, round body. Where is it located? Located in the, okay, below the Below, that means on the ventral side of the hypothalamus, it is attached to hypothalamus by a stalk called infundibulum. It lies in a bony depression of the sphenoid bone. That bony depression is called sella turcica. It has two anatomical divisions, APPP, adenohypophysis. Okay, adenohypophysis and AH hypophysis means pituitary gland, adenohypophysis and okay, neurohypophysis. Neurohypophysis is the posterior pituitary. In between these two, there is a small zone called pars intermedia. How our pituitary gland is originated? What is the origin of pituitary gland? How is it formed? Okay, let us see that the two parts of the pituitary gland, posterior lobe and anterior lobe, has different two portions are of different embryological origin. Very important point. The pituitary gland, two portion. This is the one portion. This is another portion. This is one portion. These two are not have the. They do not have the same embryological origin. The two portions of the pituitary gland, the two portions are of different embryologic origin. Anterior lobe of the pituitary gland is derived from an evagination of the ectoderm of the oropharynx. Oropharynx. Okay, oropharynx towards a brain that is called Rathke's pouch. From the top of our oral cavity, from the roof of our oral cavity, one evagination outgrowth develop. That outgrowth you can see here, that is called Rathke's pouch. This Rathke's pouch later develops as a anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. That is the origin of the anterior lobe. That is the origin of okay, anterior lobe. How anterior lobe is formed. Can now come to the posterior lobe. The posterior lobe of the pituitary gland derived from the downgrowth of the future infundibulum neurectoderm of the floor of the third ventricle of the developing brain. Okay, what is given in our textbook? Let us see that. Origin of pituitary. Embryologically, the two portions of the pituitary have their origins from two different sources. Okay, that's why it has dual origin, not single origin. The anterior pituitary adenohypophysis develops from the Rathke's pouch. The anterior part develops from this is the anterior lobe. How it has developed? It developed from the Rathke's pouch. What it is? Oroectoderm, oropharynx. Oropharynx, it outgrowth. Evagination of the ectoderm of the oropharynx, that is called as a Rathke's. It goes upside and forms the anterior pituitary. And see here, next one, the okay, Rathke's pouch, which is an embryonic outgrowth from the roof of the oral region. An outgrowth from the floor of the hypothalamus. An outgrowth from the, this is the floor of the hypothalamus. It forms the posterior pituitary is formed from the hypothalamus, and the anterior pituitary is formed from the oral cavity, upper part of the oral cavity. That means the two parts have different embryological origin. An outgrowth from the floor of the hypothalamus gives rise to infundibular process which becomes the neurohypophysis. That is the origin of pituitary gland. It is important. It was given in the mock test papers. Okay, right. Let us see a list of hormones produced by the anterior pituitary or adenohypophysis. The anterior pituitary produces six important peptide hormones. The hormones of the anterior pituitary okay, play major roles in the control of metabolic functions throughout the body. Let us take the first hormone. Okay, growth hormone, it is also called somatotrophin, somatostatin, somatokinin, somatotrophin. Don't get confused these three terms. Okay, somatokinin, growth hormone releasing hormone, somatostatin, growth hormone inhibiting hormone, somatotrophin, growth hormone or somatotrophic hormone, STH we can also call this hormone. Growth hormone, it is also called somatotrophin. It stimulates mostly the cells of the liver. I have sent you, I have uploaded the notes of this pituitary gland. Okay, look at that those videos and write down notes. It stimulates the mostly the cells of the liver, muscles, cartilage, bone to produce insulin like growth factor, not insulin, IGFs, insulin like growth factor. Okay, next one. And they stimulate the insulin like growth factor stimulates cell division in the epiphyseal plate, leading to the elongation of the bone. You learned in first year epiphyseal plate present in the long bone. Okay, in those epiphyseal plate, the epiphyseal plate is a hyaline cartilage where cell division takes place. That cell division is stimulated by insulin like growth factor, and which causes the elongation of the bone. Now you are growing, you are becoming taller and taller every year. You grow up to some age, because in your leg there are long bones. In those long bones there is a epiphyseal plate. In this epiphyseal plate there are hyaline cartilage, and which divide undergoes mitotic division and form new cells. Therefore your bones become longer, you become taller. And this they also promote growth of the entire body by accelerating the protein synthesis, cell division, and cell differentiation. And this they also decrease the catabolism of proteins, very important one. Okay, here protein synthesis, it is promoting protein synthesis, it is decreasing catabolism, breakdown of proteins. Next one is the prolactin. Prolactin is also called lactogenic hormone or luteotrophic hormone, LTH. Very important. Okay, luteotrophic hormone or lactogenic hormone, which causes the enlargement of mammary glands of the breast and are and prepare them for the production of milk. In women, the major action of prolactin is to initiate and sustain lactation. Prolactin also helps in maintaining the corpus luteum of the ovary, which is the source of female sex hormone called progesterone. Thus, it helps to sustain pregnancy. Okay, that is the function of prolactin. Okay, up to now, what we learned is, okay, in the first paragraph, we learned to pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is also called, it is attached to which part, and what do we call the stalk of the pituitary gland, what is the size of the pituitary gland, whether it is paired or unpaired, and where is it present in the bony depression, in which bony depression of which bone it is present, and what are the two anatomical divisions of it, and what is the embryological origin of those anatomical divisions. And then we learned two of the hormones produced by the anterior pituitary out of six. One is growth hormone, also called somatotrophin or somatotrophic hormone, STH. Another one, PL, prolactin, or LTH, luteotrophic hormone or lactogenic hormone, and it causes the enlargement of mammary glands of the breast. Okay, mammary glands, you learnt apocrine glands. Mammary glands are apocrine glands and prepare for the production of the milk. In women, the main action of prolactin to initiate and sustain lactation. Prolactin also helps in maintaining corpus luteum of the ovary. You will be learning about that in the next lesson. And which is the source of corpus luteum, is the source of female sex hormone called progesterone, and it helps in the sustain this is called pregnancy hormone, which helps to sustain pregnancy. Okay, that's the end of this video. In the coming part, we will I will continue remaining part of the pituitary gland.